Local mechanic convinced me to take my car to his shop to have him do a brake line for $200. I was going to do it myself. I was just being lazy because it was the middle of winter. I took it to his place and he would not give me my car back unless I paid him a little over $1,000 because he said that it took him 10 hours to bleed the brakes. The best part was I was being super considerate. I'll let him know to do the other customers' cars first because it was just a second vehicle of mine. So he wound up having it a little over a week. Broke my hood latch and also I saw him drive it to the grocery store and the parts store a couple times. $100 we called in an appliance repair business. Guy comes in. Gives us his estimate $450, asks for a deposit to order parts. We give him the money, he gives us a receipt, seems legit. Weeks and weeks turn into months. Keo calling them parts on the way, let me check and I'll call you back blah blah. We ended up reporting them to Consumer Affairs. We're just glad we didn't give him more than that. When I was 12, I got scammed out of 3.1 million near points. I never recovered from that. 2 keys on Rocket League. About $700 thanks to identity theft. $135. On a long road trip, my car suddenly needed a new battery. A small local garage in a town off the highway charged me $135 to replace it. When I eventually got home and took it to my own service center, it turned out to have been a used battery with only minimal life left in it instead of a new one. As purported. I once paid 50 cents to see a man eating chicken. $100. 2 dudes in a parking lot sold me a set of shit speakers I thought I could flip later. Based on how stupid this sounds now, you can imagine how I beat myself up about it for a while after I came to my senses. Also, this was in college when I did not have an extra 100. Thought about it for quite a while after and vowed I'd never let anything like that happen again. In hindsight, it was the best $100 I've ever spent. In terms of street savvy per dollar, I've been able to easily spot scams and have even helped a few friends not get scammed. Thanks for the life lesson. Parking lot scammers. Bought an item off the website of a company that had just finished their second Kickstarter. Before they fulfilled their second Kickstarter, they went silent and then recently got involuntarily shut down. Still waiting on a refund. But it looks like the $1,100 isn't coming. $60 K. For profit scam college. $100. Bought a cool hoodie from a website called PrintMav. Never got the hoodie. Track shipment doesn't work and they don't reply to emails. My first hint they were a scam was the complete lack of any reviews. Got a total of $1K for Christmas from aunts and uncles. Parents told me they were just gonna hold it for me. That was 2 years ago and turns out they already spent it for a brand new TV. About $8K family kept guilting me into giving them money because they promised they would pay me back. Every month it was something new and they were relentless because according to them I was not using the money. $86. The guy from To Catch a Predator, Chris Hansen, just created a new website where he claimed he would do new investigations and post them in there but needed support. I paid that much to help him. And the website is completely broken. Doesn't work and he will not post new content. Luckily PayPal returned my money. Turns out the guy is known for scamming people and cheating on his wife. $200 for Star Citizen. Something between 80 and 100k. We decided to buy our own refrigerated semi instead of loaning one. We paid the driver in advance. And to this point I don't know if he was shot or if he legit went away with the money. The merchandise and most importantly the truck. It sucks but hey. That's life I guess. $850. A friend whom I thought was a friend. Over several months borrowed. I finally said I had no more to spare. When I started asking for it back, she was never around and eventually I never heard from her again. About $10. Meth head looking woman comes up to me at library parking lot. Asks for money for gas. Your dad a sick person in hospital. I give her $10. Sometimes I'm okay with giving some money on the off chance they are actually telling the truth. But I'm 90% sure that money went for crack, meth or alcohol. $200. I got an Authentic. Email from Apple saying an app I didn't own billed me the aforementioned amount. So we've called customer service, blocked the app, and had a full refund. $200 to $300. Ex-friend borrowed from me and I took care of their kid. I ended up cutting them out of my life a few years back. Things are a lot better. Fucking Columbia House or BMG Records. For you youngsters. Those are a scummy mail order company that if you sent them a penny would send your music on vinyl records. 8 tracks. Cassette tapes or CDs. And VHS tapes of TV shows. Then they charge you forever as you tried to fulfill the membership requirement. The marketing hype. Get a sizable stack of albums for just a penny. With no money owed up front. And then just buy a few more at massively inflated price over time to fulfill the membership agreement. Around $800 from an ex who stole from me. Sigh. $5 every time I buy a watermelon that turns out to be a piece of shit. $400. Classic fake gold scam. Not me but my 80-year-old dad got scammed out of $2,000 last year by a health company here in Scotland last year. Sold him a pillow which they said had health properties. Fuck you. Saltire Healthcare and your greasy sales guy. $3,500 after my best friend skipped out on rent, stole my car and my debit cards. $20 I think. I was in my early 20s and happened to be in the parking lot of the most refined Taco Bell in the state enjoying my lovely lunch in my car when this man dressed in somewhat nice clothing like he worked in an office ran up to my window in a panic. I honestly forget the reason he needed $20 but it sounded legitimate. He swore up and down that he would meet me back in the exact spot the next day to pay me back. My dumbass believed him. The next day I waited for an hour before realizing I got fucked. Odds are he spent that $20 on a bag of weed behind the Taco Bell and that was the end of it. €20 for a deck of Unos. Fucking. I hate myself. $800. Hired a moving company that turned out to be real shady. After they loaded my stuff into their truck, they demanded more money and they didn't even fit all my things in their truck. Never use Merit Moving. Not me but my grandfather, 65 years old. He tried to sell his car and found this guy named Marcus who offered to sell it for him for part of THR profit. While Marcus was looking for a buyer he kept lending my grandfather different cars until they actually sold his car and my grandfather gave Marcus more money to fix it. In the meantime, my mother discovered the guy was a known scammer and tried to convince my grandfather yo stop giving him money. Which he said she was rude for suggesting ABD kept giving him money. It has been 3 years. Marcus never paid back and we never saw him again. My GF still believes Marcus will pay back the 50k BRL he owes and never went to court while we knew where he lived. $50 for some frozen steaks from a guy going door to door. He was really earnest and had his kid with him. And I did have extra room in the fridge. But they were only mediocre. Not a big deal. But I could have bought much better meat for the price. I'm just not good at saying no. £40. I got sold a bag of sherbet. Which I found out the painful way. I bought Reddit gold once. I invested $4k in my brother's business and he spent it all on personal luxury items. I'm now the proud owner of 3 Tosso vehicles that I can't afford to repair because that money went to him and he didn't do it. $8,500. Someone hacked my Bitcoin at the peak because I used a brain wallet. Maybe doesn't count as a scam but it felt like it. Not me but my dad. When he was about 7 years old some older dude, probably about 20 plus, tricked him to sell a Nolan Ryan rookie card for about $10 worth of cards. That card which would have been kept in good condition can be worth over $5,000. I bought a house in 2007. So about 160 grand. £250k. A family member renegaded on a deal that I was too trusting to put into a written contract. I still have major trust issues over a decade later. I'd love to have enough money to be worth being scammed. $1 on a shitty website. $364k from 2012 to 2014 because of the fraud of the Merrill Lynch manipulating gold and silver futures markets. About $2,500 minus $5,000K. Had a job where I was supposed to get an annual bonus. After the first failed year in a bonus, I decided to stick it out because I liked my job. My boss was kind of a douche. Second year came around and no bonus again. Quit shortly after. $1,350. My ex didn't pay me back. $260. Yesterday. Gave it to a vacationing family from Dubai and I didn't really realize how all the details didn't make sense until an hour later. Paid $1,500 to have a novel edited. All she did was complain about the main character taking the Lord's name in vain. Yes. I am an idiot. No, I will not be doing that again. Had my bike stolen, so I bought a nice $450 bike. I locked it up outside of work and when I finished it was gone. Nearly 9k. Some dude sold us stolen solar panels and counterfeit a 9k check for our bank. Literally changed a 3k to a 9k. We were the only ones who didn't give him money because the bank stopped the transaction. $60 for Call of Duty Ghosts. I once got scammed in a semi-weird way. Some guy managed to hack into a marketplace store account on Amazon. They dropped the prices on all of the goods that the store sold in order to pull in a ton of orders. Then they waited a week before dispatching them, complete with fake tracking numbers. I have no idea how many people they managed to get, but I only found out about it when I sent the store a message because my stuff hadn't turned up. They explained everything in the email and begged me not to leave bad feedback. Luckily the store had insurance, so I got refund. But it took about a month for the money to come in. No idea how much profit the store must have lost. $200 when I was buying drugs in Spain. I'll be $115K in debt for college by the time I graduate. Does that count? Flat out scammed? Like $400 on a drug deal gone bad. Overall like $5K on small increments where people ended up ghosting or not paying back. $20 for a basketball. Why did I buy a basketball? I hate basketball. I paid a local mechanic $160 to fix my car's AC. When I picked it up he said yeah, it just needed new Freon. We refilled it for you. He charged $90 for an hour of labor and $70 for the can of Freon. The AC worked for about 2 weeks and then started blowing out hot air like it was before. I didn't really feel like I had any shot of getting them to fix their own fuck up. So just in case, I bought a small $20 Canadian of Freon from an AutoZone and looked up on YouTube how to refill the gas. It was so easy. I did it in about 15 minutes. Including watching the YouTube video. And the AC has been working since then. 3 years later. So the mechanic 1. Severely overcharged me for Freon. 2. Said it took an hour of labor when it took me, a complete mechanical moron and novice, about 15 minutes to learn plus perform. 3. Didn't even put in enough Freon to keep it going a long time. You may ask, why didn't you just look up how to do it in the first place? Well, that's a valid question without a valid answer. TL. Doctor, I paid a mechanic $160 for something I later did myself for only $20 of parts. And he fucked it up. $260K from my mother and me over 6 years in a long con by my ex-husband. 6,000 euros for fixing parts on my old car that never had to be repaired. From a friend. Someone stole my $90 CSGO knife. $300. A health insurance company took advantage of my desperate and immediate need for coverage by selling me a health discount plan. They promised it would cover the surgery I needed. It didn't. Which was all I cared about. Plus travel discounts on car rentals and hotels. $175 deposit plus $125 monthly. Ike. They cancelled it and gave me the monthly fee back after I called and complained at least 5 times that day. They gave me the rest after I lodged a complaint with the BBB. So it all worked out in the end. But that was extra stress I really didn't need right then. $10. As a teenager, I was obsessed with the YouTuber community channel and by extension all things Australian. As a byproduct of this, I was obsessed with getting Tim Tams, which were not available in the States at the time. I don't know why I didn't just order them on Amazon, but I ordered them from some shady third-party website and never received them. And now they sell them at Target lol. When I was in 3rd grade, my mom hosted a garage sale for me and my friends, where we'd get to sell things we don't need. I sold old dinosaur toys I didn't want. Made over $300 in cash. My mom took the money. She used to tell me it's in the bank when in reality, she's broke. I'm 13 now. And going into 8th grade. Not me but my friend. Couldn't say no and donated to a charity. She's a student without income. Didn't realize they said €1 a day. Not €1 a month year. Welp, now she paying €365. I can buy a console from that. Some guy at the bank said he was doubling money, and I believed him. So I gave him everything I had. 100,000. He never returned the 200,000 I was expecting. Freakin' RuneScape scammers. My Roblox account worth like $12. €450. Probably even more. Sold my car, 2001 seat Ibiza Cupra, to a friend. He had some problems and I wanted to help, so I agreed on €500 in €50 per month. Got €50. He almost immediately sold the car and I never got the missing 450. Lesson learned. Almost lost 2k. My mom was cleaning out her files. She found 2 college funds for my sister and I she had forgotten about. Only the person whose name is on the funds can access it, and she was trying to figure out a way to get my sister's money without her knowing. Saying she wanted it to buy things for the house, etc. My sister is going to college in a few years and will really need that money. My mom has a well-paying job and had no reason to really take it. She then turns the story around and says I should take mine out and then give it to her for safekeeping until I find something useful to do with it. Mind you, I've always been really good financially and was going to use it to buy some tools to start up my career. She made me promise to give it to her straight away, but I completely noped out of that situation and invested the money in those tools, which have served me very well the past few years. The Mormon church took 10% off all money I made for about 20 years. When I realized it was a complete scam, my bank account cried really hard. Greatest scams in my life. One is my parents borrowing my life savings of around 100k of our currency, around $1,800 and when I asked for it they did not say this but heavily imply this: I raised you, and if we count all of the money I spent on you, food, clothes, education, etc, you would owe me money. Another scam is, bruh, do you have money with you? I left my wallet at place. Promise I'll pay you back later, and the person who borrowed does not pay. Happens to almost everyone I know. Edit. Added second scam due to Reddit bugging out earlier. My mother owes me $320 in stolen birthday money, grade money, and money that was given to me in letters from my great grandfather, not an inheritance. He's alive and well and doesn't know what we'd want other than that. God bless him. I'll pay you back my ass. About $650 for cancelling a gym membership and a personal trainer. I'm 5 feet and at the time my weight was less than 100 pounds. I was tricked into getting the trainer. Ugh. Stupid gyms. By the way, only had one session with the personal trainer. Around $1,600 MXN. Approx. $80. About $100, which is a lot for a student without a job. XGF never paid back. It is very clear that the money is borrowed. The things I gave her is hers. No prob with that. The borrowed money is a whole different situation. When I caught her cheating, she always gives the "I'll pay you back, I'm sorry" line. I'm still blocked from her in every possible way to contact her. Yeah. I was scammed, bruh. $10,000. I put 10 grand down as an investment in a rave, which the promoter agreed to pay back plus 20%. The event went well, but fire alarms were pulled and the event ended up getting shut down. So I was never paid back my 10 grand. I was 19. And stupid as hell. Fuck you, Jimmy. $2,300 when I was 21 and had $3,000 to my name. It was for a secret shopper scam. $7. I hadn't known the tricks of our town's local crackhead yet, and he had caught me off guard. They got the $40, but I didn't get the extra inches. 1,600 euros. A few men were hired to fix my roof and they seemed legit AF. After the first day we noticed that the majority of work they said they've done hasn't actually been done. The next day we confronted them and called the police. When the police showed up the second day, the builders freaked the fuck out and made a run for it. Which is kinda fucking stupid because I live on a large island and there's only 2 ways off it, a car ferry and a bridge. What ensued was a police chase with me and a police vehicle chasing the builder's van. They rammed the police car and my car and we lost them. We were on our way back home when we saw the van on the car ferry waiting to cross. We got on the ferry, scared the shit out of them and got the ferry driver to stop halfway across the river. We were on the river for 20 minutes until they finally gave the money back. A week later they were arrested for ramming that police car. So fixing my car cost 3,000 euros, so that incident was a costly mistake. $60. It was around Christmas week. Teen comes up to my door and is very nice. Magazine subscriptions blah blah blah. Says I can choose to donate them to a local hospital instead. I'm in the Christmas spirit of course and I choose a local children's hospital. I didn't have any cash so I invited him inside. Couldn't find any. Then invited him to take a drive with me to the ATM, which he accepted. Later realized how easily I could have been robbed on multiple occasions or even had my house scouted for potential break-in. I'm just glad it was only $60. About $4. Met an acquaintance at a Starbucks for a job interview that turned out to be an Amway pitch. $40 to a friend to pick me up some weed. Never saw him again. Probably worth the $40. If you want to get nothing in return, you can like and join my Discord. There is a link in the description.